Thank you. Got Dennis Moricet here with me, who's one of the best photo film analysis in the Kennedy assassination. Got a great Facebook group. What's the name of it again, Dennis? I'll just let you go ahead and introduce yourself and background.
Yes, my group is called Photographic and Photos and Films Analysis in the JFK assassination. It's on Facebook. We have a few thousands of members. You will see rare photographs. You see sometimes very extremely good copies of photos that you have seen in books, and a lot of information about who took the films and what the images show as well.
And when did you say you got involved in it?
I started, well, the first time I heard about the Kennedy assassination when during a documentary about in 1965.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what fascinated me most was Jack Ruby shooting Lee Oswald. It was a dramatic moment. It was better than any movie that I've seen before. It was really something. I stayed with this. It stayed with me forever. And then I wanted to learn more about it because in the TV show they were saying that Lee Oswald was innocent, that he was just a bastard.
Back then?
Then I believed it because it was on TV. So if it was on TV, it must have been true.
Of course.
And then I wanted to learn more about the subject. It was much later, though. It was in the late 80s. Then I read my first books on the subject. The first one was Rush to Judgment by Mark Lane.
That sorry, that was the second one I read.
Oh, okay.
The first one I read was On the Trail of the Assassins by Jim Garrison.
Interesting. But unfortunately, that book, Rush to Judgment, didn't have any photograph. So I'm a visual person, so I need to see. If you tell me you have a nice red car, I don't really care if I don't see it. I want to see where it is, or at least show me a photo of it. It's the same thing with the case. I want to see what really happened. Witnesses, they can claim whatever they want. They saw riflemen on the grassy knoll. They saw two shooters in a building, but you don't know if it's true or not until you sit yourself, until you have photographic evidence of it. So that's why I was interested, and I wanted to find a photo that was showing those shooters as well. I was so excited. I never got that photo at the end, but if you have one, please send it to me because I would like to see it.
Oh yeah, that would be something to behold.
Maybe there is one and we have not seen yet.
Okay.
In the late 80s, I bought a book. It's called. I'm going to share my screen in a few seconds here. Okay, Chris, you're going to see my screen in a few seconds. You'll tell me.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's the book.
Okay, yeah, now I've got it. Yeah, perfect.
That book was written by Gary Shaw. It was in 1975. That's the original copy here. And it has tons of photos. Back then, it was really hard to find photographs unless you knew somebody who already had them. It was really hard, but that book had maybe 100 photos, a few hundred photos I'd never seen before. It was really worth it. It was a purchase. And then this book in the early 90s, it was written by Robert Roden. He was a House Select Committee on Assassination photo consultant. And he knew a lot about the photos concerning the assassination. So he wrote this book, and it includes tons of photos as well in color, some in black and white, but very good quality. It's available on eBay. And then he also produced this DVD. It's called JFK Assassination Files. It has a lot of films, amateur films taken during the assassination or just before.
How many films was actually taken?
I'm sorry.
Do you remember how many films was actually taken? I know the Hughes and the Nick's film and
We'll say about a dozen
a
of films,
dozen. Okay, I didn't realize there was that many.
and over 500 photos. So, but a lot are very of poor qualities. Unfortunately, it's not all professional photos. And this DVD is quite cheap on eBay as well. I suggest everybody to buy this one. And this book was written by Richard Trask. It's called Pictures of the Pain. It's a huge book, and it has a lot of photos. It has a lot of information on those photos, on information on the people who took those photos as well. And it's very interesting.
Do you know if people? Okay, now I've got it up on my. I can see it. Do you know if people had photos that was taken from them and was not given back?
Sorry, which photo?
Do you know if there were people who had photos that was taken and was never returned to them, or anything like that happened?
Yeah, a lot of photos were stolen, lost, or people kept for themselves. They think maybe they think it would be worth more if the longer they wait. But we'll cover this in another part of the interview.
Sorry.
I'll have a few examples for you.
Okay.
We have people ask me sometimes, do you have any images showing a shooter or Lee Oswald in a window or somebody on a grassy knoll? Then unfortunately I don't. But I have this photograph that very good quality.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yes, and that's the up there. That's the window where Lee Oswald. People say he shot from. We'll call it the snapper's window. And then, of course, try to find Lee Oswald or anybody in that window. I cannot see anybody. You see boxes, 2 boxes.
Yeah, 2 boxes. That's some great quality there.
Yes, one in the background on the left.
Phenomenal.
It's more in. You have the 2 witnesses on the bottom.
Yes, that's Harold Norman and Junior Jarman.
Yes. And that photo was taken about 3 seconds after the shot. And strangely enough, they're not looking up at this point. They must have heard the shots like 10 seconds before the first shot. The first shot was about 10 seconds before that photo.
Mm-hmm.
But,
about 10 seconds.
Sorry, 10 seconds is not long enough. I think it's quite a delay. And this photo was taken, well, that's the JFK and Jackie in the limousine. They're turning the corner from Maine to Houston. You have the Texas Book Depository in the background. And then you have the red line pointing to the snapper's window. You can see nothing, actually. That's not the best copy that I have, though. It was just to show you the entire photo at this time.
Oh wow, that's some really good. I mean, for 1963.
Yeah, Polaroid as well. It's not a professional camera, obviously. Here, people sometimes they point to JFK. He has his right hand on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Yes. In a few seconds, he'll get shot in the head. That's where he'll get shot at. Maybe not precisely, but generally in the head. And that's the same photo, but a better quality. But you can see a little more. You can see nobody. We'll have a better one in a few seconds. Okay, this one is much better. It's the snapper's window on the top. Then the witnesses we saw before, the 2 black guys. I don't think you will see them in in the window below. But that's the best copy that I could have. I played with the settings, with the lightings, with the contrast, but can see nothing, nobody. Of course, you could spend a few hours looking for people in the other windows. It's very dark on the other floor. Here I cannot see anybody there, but there are a few windows where people were watching the motorcade, but cannot see them here. Here I made a blow up of the photo.
Oh wow, that is phenomenal.
Yes, but it's hard to tell what it is. Is there something sticking out? I don't know. And the two witnesses should be below. Still, I can't see that.
Yeah.
You can see stuff, but what it is, I have no idea. Maybe it doesn't even appear in the original photo. Just that's a copy of a copy, I guess, a copy of the original. And then just to I wanted to make a comparison of this snapper's window at different times. You have the Weaver photo on the bottom. That's the one I showed just before. And then you have in the middle, you have the color frame. It's not a photo, it's a frame of a film taken by Robert Hughes. And you can see something in the middle. And then above, you see more details. That's a photo.
That is a great one.
Yes, photo taken 30 to 40 minutes after the shots. So obviously there is no shooter there. But at least you can compare the images you see in the second one and third one. You can compare them with the first one. It could be just boxes. But one thing for sure, I cannot see any shooter in the middle one or the bottom one that were taken just before or just during the assassination. And
oh, that's a great photograph right there.
Yes, it's a frame of a professional film taken by Roy Cook. It's called the Cooper film, but you see that guy. I put a red rectangle around this guy. It's not a very good quality, but you can see he has something in his face, and it turned out that's a camera. I'm not sure if it's a filming camera or it's just a still photo camera. I'll show you a better image. You see that guy is looking.
Yeah.
That's on Main Street. That's the part of the limo. No, sorry, the car just behind the limousine. And he's looking at his camera. No, that's the same guy again. Let's see the next one. That's the same guy. That's a Jackie and JFK in that car. And he seems to be taking a photograph at this point.
I see that, yeah.
But the problem with this guy, we don't know who he is, and we have never seen his photos. Nobody knows who he is. And I don't think from the angle, I don't think he would have, at this point, he would have taken a photograph of the snapper's window because there is a building on the right that will be in his way. But maybe he took a photograph later of the Texas book depository that I do not know. I don't remember seeing that guy in other photos, just in this film. But that would be a subject for later on in the interview, the people who took photos that we have never seen.
Okay.
Here, that's the photo taken by Phil Willis. Pretty good photo, color, at least the color is great. You see more stuff and it's more realistic than a black and white one. You see the limousine in front. That's on, the limousine is on the Main Street. They're gonna turn the corner right there on Houston in a few seconds. And then that's the same photographer, Phil Willis. He took this photo after the first shot that missed everybody. You see the limousine right there, right in the middle. You see the grass knoll in the back.
Yes, I do.
But it's a bit fuzzy. Fortunately, if it had been a good, like a regular, good quality photograph, we could have seen more details in the back.
Right.
On the grass, but it's a bit fuzzy. You can see Abraham Zapruder in the middle, on the top of the pedestal. He was taking his film from there. I'm not really sure you can see him, but he's there with a woman on the right, his secretary. He's taking his film from there.
Yes.
So, and people sometimes they ask to have images of the grassy knoll. You see shapes, but nothing very definitive. You cannot see a gun or really somebody. There are some shapes you could think that's somebody, but it's too fuzzy for me to see anything. Then that's I think that's just before the first shot or just after the first shot. That film was taken by a lady in the building, in the Texas building depository, and she took this film. That's a frame of a film, and you can see the woman. You see the red line pointing to this, and she has a camera on her chest. And we don't know who she is. We have never seen her photos either. So there are people who took photos in Dile Plaza, and we have never seen those photos. But maybe she took a photo and didn't turn well enough, and she just threw it out. She didn't share it with anybody. But maybe she took a good photo and she still has it with her. But nobody can tell. Here we have a photo taken about 4 minutes before the motorcade arrived. You can see the building in the background. Unfortunately, that photo didn't capture the sniper's nest. It would be more on the corner, on the top.
That is a good one.
Yes, and that's the photo was taken by Mary Morman. I'll show you another photo of her later.
Okay.
And we can, very dark in those windows. We cannot see anything. That's a Polaroid as well. Here I have a clearer photo. You see more stuff, but nobody. Okay, that's the photo that she took of the assassination itself. I believe that was taken just after the headshot, or just before, a fraction of seconds before.
Yeah. Look. I can't tell if it's just. Maybe it's just. No, I don't know if it struck him or not. I can't. Because it looks like the back of the head's still intact.
Yes, looks like it. But that's not the best copy either. Maybe somebody has a better copy and can show more details. But from this copy, nah, I cannot tell. So the Mary Morman was just a few feet from JFK. It's quite incredible. And still the grassy knoll. I spent hours and hours. I played with the settings. I played with the photo editors. That's the wall, and I checked the wall, looking for shooters. It's very dark in the background. Again, that's not the best copy. Well, that's the copy that I have. Right, and then that's the same photo we saw before. I put it there because that's right during the headshot. That's 3 seconds after the headshot. Look at this photo before. And then that photo was taken by an official army man called James Powell. He took this photo about 30, 40.
Perfect. That's a wow. That's, I mean,
Sniper's nest.
Is that? I mean, the pictures we've seen earlier you know, you can see the building. And when was this picture taken? I mean, how long or before? Yeah.
This one 3 seconds after the shooting.
Okay.
3 or 5 seconds. It was taken by a professional photographer. That's why you have a good quality. And this one is a color photo, but I believe these are just boxes. Nobody there. Of course, somebody wants to believe that somebody can say that's somebody there. That's somebody's face.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the other ones a while ago, you could see, you know, a touch of the boxes, but that looks a lot more is in the window than earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
More boxes, yes. Then you have the witness that we saw before in the window. Can you see like a orange dot there in the middle? In the window?
Bring it up just a little bit. No, up higher. Yeah. Okay.
That's his face. But it gives you an idea of the timing of this photo as well. But the other guy seems to have gone, but maybe he's more in the shadow and we cannot see him. But it gives us a clue on when exactly that photo was taken. It couldn't have been taken 5 minutes later because the guy is still there. So, and James Powell, he took other photos that day. I don't know how many he took, but I contacted he deceased, but I contacted his widow, and I asked her if she could send me a copy of the original photo. And I asked her if she could send me other photographs as well that he took that day. But she said that those photos are not available. So it tells me those photos exist, but they are not available. She doesn't want to share them, I guess. It's too bad. I'm not really sure wants to.
Yeah, I wonder why she wouldn't want to share them.
Then that's the same photo. I tried to clear up the images. Okay, now we see the guy much better. The witness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That.
But above, in the sniper's nest, we cannot see much more. Then I tried to find somebody those windows in as well on the side of the building. There isn't. I can see nobody. I spent hours and hours looking for people in those windows. That's the blow up of the photo I just showed.
Gosh, I've never seen some of these before.
Robert Groden, the one, the photograph expert I talked about a few minutes ago, he wrote in his book that you can see somebody in the corner. That's somebody. I'm not really sure how I can see.
In that picture right there?
That's right.
He said you can see somebody in that picture in the corner?
Yes.
I don't see it, but
that's what he wrote in his book.
Yeah, I don't see. I don't really see anybody there.
And that photo was taken after the shots. You can see the limousine behind the policeman.
Yes.
And there's not much to see here. People sometimes wonder where was this guy, Dan Rather of CBS. Dan Rather of CBS, he claimed he was in Dealey Plaza during the assassination. Since there was no photograph or films showing him, people were saying he was a liar, or he was not in Dealey Plaza. He just made up a story to make himself important. But somebody the other day told me that it could be him on the right. Looks somewhat like him.
Somewhat, yeah.
Back is not the best photo. Could be him, maybe not. It's just something I wanted to bring up. That's the building here. The red line points to the not exact. Well, that's the approximate location of the sniper's window. Of course, you won't see anything, but I tried to find people on those windows. Couldn't see anybody there. But I just wanted to show that photo because it's a known photo, but not everybody has seen that photo. It's a pretty good photo after overall. And then we have just after the shots, obviously, it's about 1 minute after the shots. That's the kind of photo we would have needed from Phil Willis. You see the details on the wall.
That is, I mean,
if there had been a shooter there and a professional photographer taking a picture during the assassination, could have seen something. Oh, nothing. And I wanted to bring up this photo because you see this. His name is Tom Craven. He was a photographer for CBS in New York. He was part of the motorcade, and you cannot see his camera, but he's filming the witnesses on the ground. On the right, we have Atkins, Tom Atkins of the White House. He's a professional photographer as well. He filmed those witnesses in color. We have his film. It's a very good film. But this man, Tom Craven, he took a black and white film of those witnesses and other scenes in Dealey Plaza after the shooting. But his film is lost. I've never seen his film. It has never been shown on TV.
Never been shown on TV? Really?
Never. Too bad.
Huh.
His camera was good quality. That was a camera, professional camera. Unfortunately, nobody knows what happened to his film.
Wow.
Well, I heard that his film was ruined when they tried to develop it. There was some water leaking, or there was a water pressure in the studio, in the CBS studio in Dallas, KLRD TV. They had some water problem. It seems the water just ruined this film. But I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I read. That's what I was told as well. But,
that's a shame.
Yes. And another photographer that's about within 1 minute of the last shot, after the last shot, a shot that was the Babushka lady, and she has a camera. You cannot really see it, but you can see something at the shoulder level. Her film was never seen. It's it's a still photo camera. It's not a film. People think that she took a film, but it's not. It's not a film. It's just still photos that she took during the assassination. But her photos have never been seen. There was a.
Oh, that's a nice. I mean, well, interesting photo.
Yes, it was taken after the assassination, obviously. And that's about 3 or 4 minutes after the assassination. It was taken by a professional photographer. His name is James Murray. And James Murray was in Dealey Plaza. He didn't plan on taking photos on that day. He could have stepped outside and taken very good photos of the assassination, but he did not. He kept his cameras in his car that was parked just next to the Texas Book Depository. And he was with some friends in a building very close to the assassination scene. He was with his friends, talking with them when the assassination was taking place. And just too bad, because he had a very good camera, very good quality photos. And he took this photo. Oh, sorry, that's actually another photographer who took this photo. That would be about 15 minutes after the assassination. The policemen and FBI agents were looking for evidence of a shot. They were looking for bullets, rifles everywhere, of suspects. They were running up suspects. So here we have a photo of this man. We don't know who he is. Nobody knows.
Huh.
Or if somebody knows, he never told us who he is. And he's picking up something from the grass. Some people said that's a bullet. I'll show you more details in a few seconds. That's a policeman here. And then that's the hand. I tried to find a bullet in this grass, but can't see nothing. But it could be under his hand, so we couldn't see it. And you can also see it. Yeah, deputy sheriff as well. His name is Eddie Waters, and he's picking up something as well. What it is, who knows? I believe that's. He said later, a few years after the assassination, he said that's a piece of bone that he picked up from the ground. Piece of bone, but not really sure what he did with it. Maybe he put it back for somebody else to pick up later. And then he closed his hand after picking up the object. I'm not really sure what he has. But I don't believe the Warren Commission had those photos. So if they had those photos, I'm pretty sure they would ask him, what did you pick up exactly? But I don't think they had those photos. So they couldn't ask the question. Other people tried to find objects as well, like this taxi driver on the left.
Oh, wow.
And, this man was putting his hand on the grass and is now putting his hand in his left pocket. Could be just grabbing something else that has nothing to do. And his hand is still closed. Who knows? And then you have, I believe that the guy in the center from the back is the same guy who was picking up something from the grass. Couldn't swear, but it's probably him. That's a witness. People asking questions. Then there's an article here. The deputy sheriff who is closing his hand on the grass. During the Jim Garrison inquiry in 1967 or 1968, he was asked by newspapers about this bullet. Here he says, it was nothing insignificant. If it had been a bullet, it would have been significant. So he denies that was a bullet. And that's that lady again, the one we saw in the color photo.
Yes.
Before. We have a very good copy. You can see the camera there. I'll have more details about this camera. But her film photos were never seen, never. I tried to get a better image. That's the camera. That's witness. His name is Bob Edwards. He saw a man in one of the windows in the building, and he's brought in by a deputy sheriff for questioning. That's a suspect who was arrested. He was in a building close to the depository building, and people inside the building knew that this guy didn't have any business in this building, so they called the police to arrest him, or to at least to get him out.
Remember that.
Larry Flower is his name.
Yes.
There are a few photographs of him and films as well. That's the same guy again. And I read that people were screaming, yelling at him, and they were accusing him of being a killer. And that's him again in the sheriff office. He's giving affidavit. And that's about, I think that's an hour after the assassination. We see this guy here. I'm really curious about this guy. We'd like to know who he is. I'll show you more information about him. I think that's the same guy. This guy, that's in Parkland, 2 days after the assassination. That's when Lee Oswald was brought in the hospital after being shot by Jack Ruby. And they're trying to save his life. Now, according to you, Chris, is it the same guy? The guy on the left is the photo in Delay Plaza, and this one on the right is in Parkland 2 days later. It's a bit on the left.
I mean, they bear a strong resemblance. So the guy on the left's a little heavier.
Yeah, maybe the angle. That's the guy a bit better here. He seems to have the same attitude. He seems like a big guy who is not afraid of anybody. Could be a Secret Service agent or FBI agent. But I've not seen any documentation on who the guy is. It doesn't really matter in the whole case, but just curious about him.
Yeah.
Because the Secret Service, they said that they didn't leave any agent behind after the assassination. Nobody stayed in Delay Plaza. And yet you have this guy an hour after the assassination.
Huh, that is very interesting. Because that's what I thought too. They didn't leave any Secret Service behind.
Yeah. It could be from another agency, maybe from the Texas Rangers or some other departments. That's the bag in which Oswald brought his gun in the building.
Right.
That's the bag, and
that's a good picture. That's a very, very. I'm pulling them up here on my phone as you go through, or I've got my iPad out. So keep it. Oh, okay.
It's a lunch bag that was found on the 6th floor. It contained chicken. It belonged to
Bonnie Ray Williams. Was that right?
Yes, that's the one. According to the official story, it belongs to him. But there are some disputes. Some people say that bag was found on the 5th floor, not the 6th floor. But we won't be covering this today. These are two policemen. The one on the right is Joe Smith, and the one on the left is Eugene.
Now, Joe Smith is the one that claimed somebody produced credentials of being a Secret Service or CIA, right?
Yes, he's the one on the right. After the shooting, he was pretty close to the Texas building, but what he did, he ran to the grassy knoll instead. I guess I'm not really sure about his testimony, but I believe he heard the shots coming from that direction.
Yeah, I've often wondered about that story. Just how much validity. I mean, was Joe Smith telling the truth, or just trying to make a name for himself, or
And now here we have that's in the parking lot behind the grassy knoll. So some policemen are taking down 3 policemen are taking down the license plates, names, and what kind of details on those people. They wrote it down on paper, but nobody have ever seen those paper. And I mean, outside the police, researchers, officials, Warren Commission. Nobody knows where those papers are. We could have found interesting names. Those who believe in conspiracy, they think that we could have found names of shooters. Or
yeah, something tells me they wouldn't be carrying.
But if you believe nobody was involved other than Oswald, then you say it doesn't matter whatever information on those papers. But it would have been interesting to see those papers.
Oh yeah, most definitely, yes. I mean, these are fascinating.
I
mean,
that's the car. That's the rifle found on the 6th floor. That's Oswald's gun. It's not a Mauser, it's a car canoe.
I was just fixing to say, it kills me that today people are still trying to say that. And it's like, why would you bring a rifle, 2 rifles to try to frame him?
It's ridiculous. I have a little glitch. It's the same rifle, different photo. They're different. Some people don't even want to admit that's a car canoe. So it's impossible to see what it is.
Yeah.
But that one you cannot deny. This one.
Oh, if you've seen them side close together, they're almost identical. And if I remember correctly, I think Scott Mosley told me they're actually made by the same company, or they're produced alike. Don't hold me to 100% that, but I remember him telling me something along those lines. But they're very similar looking rifles, so it'd be easy for them to get mistaken.
Oh yes, I talked to a lot of policemen who were on the 6th floor, and sometimes they talk. They say that's where they found a Mauser. Then I corrected them. Well, I thought it was a car canoe. Well, a car canoe is a Master.
Yeah.
For them, it's the same.
Okay, so it is. Okay. Yeah, that's what he had told me. They was the same thing. So I didn't want to mislead anybody there, but that's what I thought he told me when we went to Dallas last year, because I got to fire the Carcano.
So for them, that it was a Master. It's just to make things simple, I guess. They call it a Master.
Oh, that's the famous. Keeping up here as we go.
That was a short clip. I forgot I had this clip there. No, it's about an hour and a half after the shooting. The police made some arrests. That's the famous tramps. Those 2 guys. There is a 3rd one who is just behind the one in the middle. But it was found out later they have nothing to do with the assassination. Just tramps. And that's on the way to Parkland. There's a limousine. You cannot see JFK at this point. I believe you can see Conway, the Governor Conway, where you see the arrow pointing to a head.
Yes. So I remember, I think Clint Hill, he gave some kind of signal when he jumped on the car, as I recall.
He got a signal?
Yes. Clint Hill, when he jumped on the car, he supposedly gave him a thumbs down, I remember, for car ride.
Oh, you're talking about in Love Field before?
Well, no, when he jumped on the back of the car, Clint Hill, he gave him a thumbs down, and that's when they sent everybody to get his to send the rest of Kennedy's Kennedy's people to protect Johnson.
Yeah, it was a signal to let people know that JFK was dead.
Yeah. He was let him know, hey, yeah, he's gone, and they were supposed to go and pull off and then go make sure Johnson, was safe.
Yes. I've never seen that signal, but I believe it did happen. Yes. Then that's another photo. That's a clean hill on the top. You see governor's wife. You see her head, but still you can't see JFK at this point. He collapsed in the car.
Okay.
And another one, clean hill again in the middle. You see a Secret Service agent with his rifle right there, just in case any shooters anywhere come up. At least he can do something about it. It's another photo. The same thing. Okay, that's in Parkland.
Yes.
That's bucket here. People say that this bucket was to clean up.
Yes, clean up the mess.
Yeah, clean up the mess. Yes. Same event. I guess policemen were wondering what to do. They were just standing there. Okay, that's one. That's not a suspect. Two suspects who are put in a car. These are employees who knew the Oswald. They brought them in to the police station for interrogations. And I put this photo because you see this guy with I think he had 3 cameras on him. And he was a photographer for the Houston Chronicle. I'm sure he took very good photos of the scene in Dealey Plaza, because he was in Dealey Plaza a few minutes after the shooting, but nobody knows where those photos are.
Oh, wow.
That's so disappointing. And I contacted the Houston Chronicle, contacted a lot of people, but nobody cares. They don't want to know where those photos are. They have no idea. They don't want to know. We don't know. We don't care. It's quite incredible. It's a very good photo. That's the best I could. But that JFK with Henry Gonzalez, he was a congressman. And this gentleman in the middle, Gonzalez, he wrote a letter to a researcher called Todd Vaughn, and he told him that he took photos in Parkland. After the shooting, he arrived in Parkland about the same time as JFK, and he took photos inside the hospital. In this letter, he explains that he took photos and he put his cameras in his car, and when he went back later, his 3 cameras were gone. They got stolen.
Really?
Yes. And that information came out not in 1963, but much later.
I mean, it was surprising. I bet people were trying to, get their hands on all kind of souvenirs that day.
Yeah. But maybe those photos are still exist, but since they were stolen, maybe they are afraid to admit they stole the cameras, and or maybe they just took the photos and threw out the films. And
no, I wouldn't think so either.
No. Just too bad. That's another example of photos that we will never see. And that's the arrest of Oswald in the Texas theater. Is on the, I put the Lee on in the middle. He has all those policemen around him to make sure he's not going anywhere. It's a pretty good photo after all. Could have been better, but better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean it's still I mean, it's a good one.
That's another one. No, the Lee is in the car. You can see a face. I just noticed a face in the middle. Facing us. Maybe it's a hand. Probably just a hand. Just bad we cannot see Lee Oswald in the car. It's too dark. You can see people were very upset at this guy in the middle with his finger in the air. I think he would have killed Oswald if he had the chance. And that's inside the theater when they see Lee Oswald in the middle. All those policemen trying to put their hands on him. And now they brought him out of the theater. He's well escorted. And then
yes,
those photos were, 3 photos were taken by Jim McCammon, and it seems there are more photos taken by McCammon, but we only know of 3 photos taken by him. I showed 2 of them to you. Now we have number 1, number 2. That's part of a list. It was a list made by Richard Sprague, and it says number 1, group of police interrogating an old Negro outside TSB, the Texas School Book Depository. Number 2 as well. Those 2 photos, I've never seen them. Maybe it's a mistake. They don't really exist. And also number 3, number 4, seen in Dile Plaza, but I've never seen those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have no idea. And
wow.
that's a jacket found by policemen. The Warren Commission, they concluded that that's the jacket that was worn by Lee Oswald. There's a witness. His name is Warren Reynolds. He was a witness.
Yes.
He didn't see the shooting himself, but he saw things going on after.
Yeah, he was at a car dealership nearby, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry?
I believe he was working at a car dealership.
Yes, he was. He heard, I'm not sure if you heard the shots. Matt will tell us about him. He knows exactly who saw the shooting. I think only one, Helen Markham.
Helen Markham is the one who only actually seen it. Domingo Benavidez was the closest person, but I think he pulled, but she was the only one that's seen the actual shooting of the officer.
And other witnesses, they saw a man running away as well. They are considered as witness, obviously, as well. That's Helen Markham. We're talking about her. And that's the wallet. There is a wallet and a handgun.
Did they ever find out I've heard so much stuff about that was Oswald's wallet, it was Tippett's wallet. I mean, I know it wasn't Oswald's. They took Oswald's off of him and they put him in the car. And I just, I've heard so much stuff about that. And I just wonder if we know whose wallet that actually was.
Yeah, you can talk to many researchers who know much more than I do about the subject, and they won't agree with each other. So I'm not going to get involved in this.
Sure thing. Yeah, I understand.
That gun could be the policeman's. It could belong to that policeman. I don't know, but I find it very strange. He's handling this this revolver like this way, it could shoot somebody. It's not very safe, I guess. That's all I can say. I don't know who it belongs to. And that's a detective who is taking prints. Well, trying to find prints on a car, trying to find prints from the shooter. I don't believe he found any. That's we're going back.
Yeah, I don't think he did either. I think the way it's
either.
Yeah.
Screaming, crying. He's not very happy, that's for sure.
No.
We can understand him. That's in the car. That's not the Oswald on the left. I believe he's in middle or on the right. Cannot see him from there. Unfortunately, I was not able to get an image of him. And that's it. That's the general thing about the photographic aspect of the case. And next time we'll talk about the photos that were lost, stolen, or never seen before. That would be very interesting as well.
Yes, I've enjoyed this very much, Dennis. I appreciate you coming on and doing this. I didn't even know that hour flew by. I mean, I'm so enthralled. I'm glad I got this. I could open that link because I could sit here on my iPad and follow along with every one of the photographs you had. These are just I didn't, because I've been on your site a million times and looked at stuff. I didn't realize how many was so clear than these are. That's I mean, just phenomenal.
Well, the photograph, the photo editors, the applications you have on that you can get for free, they are better and better at getting the best quality that you can with an image.
Yeah,
they are very easy to use as well.
I was wondering, what all we could have seen if we'd had just a cell phone technology, back then that we do today.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, just imagine just the camera and so much better on your cell phone. Would have been, I still don't think we would have seen a shooter behind the knoll though, and I hate to let people down, but I would have loved to be able to see into that 6th floor a little bit better.
Yes, there were quite a few professional photographers in Dealey Plaza during the shooting, but they didn't react on time, late, or didn't take the photo at all.
Well, and you got to think with something like that and people screaming and cheering and it's 8 or 9 seconds. I mean, the first shot they probably thought it was a backfire or caught by surprise, and then by the time the second, third, I mean they might not. It was almost over before it began, if that makes sense.
Sure, it goes fast, like a span of 6 seconds, 7 seconds.
I think it was probably closer to 8. Seconds with all 3 of them. But somebody was talking about one time why the Secret Servicemen did not react quicker. Well,
yeah,
8 seconds to catch up to a moving car. I mean, what were they going to do? I mean, there's not really much they could have done. I don't know how they're
cannot blame that. It's just disappointing.
Yeah,
very at that time.
To lose a president, and you just think, so the storm would have held on, it'd have had to have the bubble top on.
Yes, that would have been a different story.
Before I let you go, I got a question for you that I've asked people that that I kind of think has something to do with it. The Kenny Mystique, do you think if he would have been a 75-year-old man with an old wife, there would be this still mystique around it, or it's because it is a young, nice-looking man, beautiful wife, young children? I think that has a lot to do with it. His youth is what has this mystique around it. The assassination. if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I think people wanted to be like JFK.
Yeah, because
Was a lot of money.
But we wouldn't have had a president. I'm probably trying to think about what probably did, but to be that young and two small children and why, and it was like it could have been anybody's neighbor. I mean, not that kind of money, but they represented a hope and youth, and I just think that their youth and vitality helped keep the mystique alive, had opposed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I want to 80-year-old president be shot, but I just don't think it would have the same allure, if that makes sense. If it had been a much older president as opposed to someone who represented youth and a new hope, I guess, so to speak. And one of the questions I like to ask people, because I had Mark on the other night. How does a Canadian getting attracted to it? Was it just when you seen? I know you mentioned earlier seeing Ruby shoot Oswald. Was that what drew you to it, or was something else, or I'm always curious. Huh?
It's not about politics. At that time. I didn't care about his politics at all. I didn't know much politics anyway. I was too young. It's just mystery, especially when it's black and white. It's even more mysterious. And because at that time I was watching those TV shows, Gangsters, and with Elliot Ness.
Yes.
And it reminded me that kind of stuff as well, with policemen and gangsters, shooting and murders.
And you're from Quebec, right?
Yeah, from Quebec, yes.
Well, I appreciate this a lot, and I would love to do it again sometime when we have some free time, and I just want to thank you a lot for doing this, and I really enjoyed that. So again, tell us just one last time the name of your website again for anybody who's listening.
Yes, if you want to see those photos and the discussions on those photos, it's called Photos and Films Analysis in the JFK Assassination. That's on Facebook.
I recommend it to anybody. It's great. And then there's if you want to add anything else, Dennis, feel free. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you on the sites.
Yes, the next interview will be even more interesting than today.
I look forward to that, my friend.
All right. Have a good day. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on. And glad we got all our kinks worked out there.
Yes.
And have a good day. All right. Thanks a lot, Dennis.
Bye-bye.
Bye.